Hey guys, this is Brian from the Southern Islands, and we are here with Goodness Gracious Games' first set championships for Lorcana happening just this past weekend. So if you're watching it on, well, the 13th, it happened on the 12th. So yeah, this format is a BO1 format in terms of Swiss, and then once you make it the top cut, it's BO3. So this is the Fabled Set Championships, and we are in a very interesting meta right now, actually. On this week, I think Bologna just finished, and the top cut, the top 8 decks, I think were very varied, right? We saw some Control, we saw some Sea Dogs. Of course, Blurple did win the entire thing, but I think it was the only Blurple in top 8. So heading into this weekend set championships, I think a lot of people were very interested to see what the meta is going to shape like in Singapore, as I think this is the first weekend, or rather the second weekend of the set championships. I think K10 had their set championships the previous weekend. So yeah, here we are looking at Denry versus Justin. Denry playing an Emerald Steel Pirate style deck, whilst Justin is playing Blurple. So Justin is going first, which is a little bit more advantageous for Blurple. You know, you are able to kind of ramp faster than I think Pirates can kind of set up, because Pirates is a very setup dependent deck. He is very dependent on seeing that shift Captain Hook, which gives all other pirate characters, I think, resist 1 once that Captain Hook is exerted, right? So that includes himself as well. So yeah, we see Demi setting up with the Captain Hook, and we see Justin is just going for that turn 1 Basil and that turn 2 T-Bug. So this is kind of the perfect start for Justin at this point in time. So I'm just hoping to see what Denry can do on his turn, right? So he does play, I think that is Quick Shot, I believe, which deals 1 damage to a chosen character, and then you draw a card, right? 2 costs, I believe, an Inkable. It's actually pretty good removal tool. You know, you're able to get rid of the Basil as well without risking, without losing his own Captain Hook. So that was a pretty decent move from Denry. From Justin, we just see the standard, you know, ink on 4, play Genie, draw a card. You know, I say it like that because it's what every Blurple deck does, and he's not doing anything wrong whatsoever. It is kind of the perfect curve for Justin at this point in time. Denry here on 3. Hopefully, he gets, I think, the Captain Hook shifts. I believe that's a shift 3, if not it's a shift 4. Seeing that Denry is not really okay, there we go. He does ink that Captain Hook. I was wondering if Denry had any inkables in his hand. He does play the Smee for 3, for 2, sorry, and he does play a Pete for 1. That Pete, whenever he uses an action which is not a song, he's able to banish a chosen item, which is not typically used, but you know, in this kind of meta with Sea Dogs around, or with a lot of Emerald Chronicons running around, we could be seeing more Petes coming about. So Pete is also a really good target for a shift into the big Pete, which, you know, allows him to give more stats, you know, to his other characters. I think it's whenever it's exerted, the opposing characters can't exert to sing, and your pirate characters do gain 1 resist as well. Very useful and a mainstay in that Pirates deck. So right now, Justin is just going to trade with the Smee. Trade with his Elsa. They just played the Fifth Spirit to get rid of the Smee from Denry's side of the board. Very standard things that we're seeing from the Blurple side of the field. And unfortunately, not being able to shift that Captain Hook does spell a little bit of trouble, but we do see that Big Pete's still very strong. And if Pete does exert here, you know, Justin can't do something like a Sing the Into the Unknown or Sing second star to the right. So very good card against Blurple. Yeah, and right now we just see Jenny just questing with that Pete as well, brings him up to, I believe, 4 2 right now is the lower count. We do just see Justin inking that Monstro. And you know, I think when Justin here, since he doesn't have that Dumbo in his hand, I believe he may just quest here. He doesn't necessarily need to get rid of the Pete at this point in time. I know he has the Bell, the Enchanted Bell, I must say as well. A gorgeous piece of card there. So he could potentially swing into the Pete and then shift the damage counters over. But no, he is just going to play the Bell first. And I think that Elsa does have 3 damage counters, so he is going to be able to shift that the damage from the Elsa to just KO, to banish away the Captain Hook, so prevents Denry from using that Captain Hook as a shift target there into the bigger Captain Hook. But another Captain Hook does go down, so he does have another shift target, and this Captain Hook has that nifty ability that whenever he does get challenged, Denry can then draw a card, and also he has another effect where if this character is, I think, exerted, your opponent's pirates can't quest. So it's an interesting tool in a anti-pirate deck, but he's mainly there as a shift target as well as a potential draw engine, because if he does get banished through a challenge, he is able to then just draw Denry at least 1 card. Yeah, so here Justin is playing for the top deck. He is trying to find some way to draw back his cards. I do apologize for that glare there. That card is that Enchanted Bell that we saw Justin play earlier. So Justin here is thinking whether he just wants to tap 8, I believe, for the Elsa. Sorry, no, tap 6 to shift the Elsa over. He does. He shifts the Elsa to exert both the Pete as well as the Captain Hook, and I believe here Justin is just going to quest out. So we do see him quest for 4, 7, 8, and he is just going to be able to quest out, I believe, next turn, because Denry has no way to challenge I think Justin's character's on the board unless he has like a Strength of a Raging Fire or like a Smash. He needs a lot, I think, in order for him to come back and win this. So Denry just making sure that he has all the options available, or just that he has kind of calculated all the options. He is shifting, so he is tapping 3 for maybe a Smash. But even if he smashes here, I mean, there isn't really many good Smash targets. We do see a Smash on the Bell, which just puts 3 on the Bell, unable to do anything unless he has like fire to cannons. But I don't think there's anything that Denry can do. So Denry is just gonna scoop there, and Justin takes game 1. So this is round number 2 of the GGG Fabled Set Championships. So with number 2, we do have Ben playing Ember Steel Aggro, as well as Angus playing Amethyst Sapphire. So these 2 decks also very, very popular right now. We do actually see a slight drop off in terms of Ember Steel in the recent metas, just because there's a there's a sharp spike, I believe, in Sea Dogs that we saw over this weekend. I believe in Dimension Games there were like at least 5 Sea Dogs out of like 30 people, which is a significant number. I think it's like 5 or 6 actually. So Ember Steel doesn't really do much. It rather loses that matchup unless Sea Dogs does draw dead. And Ember Steel into most decks right now ain't doing too hot. There is a chance where Ember Steel just manages to take the game in a best of 1 against Blurple, and Blurple just doesn't have the answers early on. But even then, once Blurple does stabilize at turn 5, there's very little opportunities for the Ember Steel to kind of come back into that game. So we do, I think Ben is starting first, if I saw correctly earlier, which means that there is a huge advantage, I think, for Ember Steel to take this game. Aggro into control or board control, or just good cards, from Blurple. This matchup is, well, yeah, it's pretty straight cut. It's either Ember Steel is going to win in 5 turns, or Blurple will stabilize and just kind of take the game from there. Blurple does start first, so does manage to set up the Rafiki, which is a really good anti-aggro tool. So here Ben is just gonna ink that Pluto and play that Daisy Duck. So here is back over to Angus. We do see the Sail the Azurite Sea come down for 2. He is likely just gonna ink. He's looking at inking a second Dumbo here. Not sure if inking 2 Dumbos this early on is a wise choice, but I mean, I guess you're not going to be utilizing the Dumbo for much of this game, as you are just going to try to clear the board. So here, Ben is just going to quest for that Daisy Duck, and he is thinking if he's going to do anything else. He does tap one for the Rhino. He does tap a second one for a Fire to Cannon to get rid of that Rafiki. So Rafiki, there isn't any kind of shenanigans with a strength of the hypnotic strength into the Rafiki to get rid of that Daisy Duck. It does establish that board control quite early on, and now it's on Angus to kind of answer back. Does play that Genie for 4. Does draw him a card, but I think he would have much rather seen an Iago there. Or kind of set up for an Elsa. We do see an Elsa in his hand, so he is going to be able to have some sort of an answer. But what happens when when there's 2 Daisy Ducks at 1/4 each, as well as a Rhino with a 4/3? Ben is slowly starting to take this game away. He is currently at 6 lore on turn 3. Angus here trying to find an answer. We do see into the unknown as well in Angus's hands. So Angus probably thinking if there's anything else he can do here, but it's just gonna be a Elsa play into that Daisy, which is at least 2 damage onto that Daisy. And we do see Into the Unknown come down, sung by that Genie, getting rid of that Rhino Powerball, Power Hamster, I believe. But you give Ben 2 additional ink, which allows him to play the Nala as well as the Calhoun from his hand. Calhoun not gonna be able to do much in terms of getting rid of Angus's board, but that Nala 0/2, and if she has no damage on her, she gains 1 resist as well as 1 additional lore. So it's a 0/2 resist 1 for 3, which is absolutely ridiculous for Amber Steel. Ben sitting at 10 right now, very, very comfortable. Keep in mind that this is only, I think, turn 4, because Angus did use that Into the Unknown to give Ben 2 additional ink. That's why Ben is at 5. And Angus here inking away that Iago, signifies that I think that's not too much he can do. Here he does swing into the Daisy Duck, get rid of the Duck with the Elsa, and I wonder if we're going to see Angus. No, you don't see another Into the Unknown, but we just see Genie swinging in for Daisy Duck, which I think is the right play. You don't want to give Amber Steel too much more ink there. We do see 4 ink being tapped for that Meta Mim Elephant, which allows you to bounce a character on your side of the board when on play. And if you don't, she gets banished. And also, at the start of your turn, you're able to shift up to 2 damage counters from herself over to one of your opponent's characters. Very, very good card. It allows you to reset cards like your Genie, like your Elsa, like your Hades. If you're able to just kind of bounce loop with the Meta Mims, I think it's an extremely good tech card that we saw coming into Blurple from set 9 onwards. People started seeing it, I think, at the end of set 8, but it's really taken in terms of popularity here. Ben, I believe, still thinking what he wants to do. Honestly, I think questing the Nala, questing out here, I think is the right play. He is just going to quest for 4. Angus here going to have to answer either one of the Nala or the Calhoun, and there isn't too much that he can do. He can't do it very cleanly because Meta Mim is 3. So Meta Mim is able to clear the Nala, but they also can't clear the Calhoun, right? And the thing is that if Ben draws like a Strength of the Raging Fire, for example, Strength of the Raging Fire, and to kind of swing 2 Calhouns into the Meta Mim, he does kind of trade positively. He also gains, that 2 additional lore from Calhoun's secondary effects. So, we see Angus here playing Genie on 4, and we do see Into the Unknown being used now. Angus here just going to quest for the first time on 6 turns, sorry. It's just going to be Ben is playing basically off the top deck, right? So he very wisely plays the Gym Deer non-exerted, just Angus being able to clear the Calhoun with the Elsa there. Ben is slowly running out of gas, slowly running out of options here. Angus starting to quest. Is this where Angus has stabilized? Is this where Blurple has stabilized? We do see the Jim Deere questing for one, and Sven coming down to ready another one of his characters. So that is a cheeky one lore gain from Ben, and if Ben is able to quest next turn, he does bring himself up to 18, which makes him that much closer to victory. Angus here needs a way to answer these characters. We do see the 2 damage shifting from the Metamim onto the Jim Deere. We do see Elsa coming down, another third Elsa coming down, to exert that Sven. There is so much coming, there's so much, just so much hurt coming out for Ben right now. Back to back Elsas, and, you know, he just doesn't really have an answer. So we do see the Jim Deere questing one more time, brings him to 16 with Daisy on the board. That brings him to 18. But Angus here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 6 lore on the board at this point in time. That makes it 8 lore on the board. So if Angus just quests out here, I don't think there's much Ben can do. Right? So that's 2, 4, 5, 6. So that brings him up to 14, and Ben, there isn't really anything that Ben can do to answer this. So he just scoops, and that's it for round number 2. Angus takes a win. Welcome back to round number 3. We have here Angus once again on stream, and I believe KJ is on the other side. Kijay is on the other side. So we do have a Blurple versus Amethyst Steel matchup. We saw Angus on the table just now, piloting his Blurple deck closely to perfection there, managing to survive Ben's onslaught of the Amber Steel cards, and Kijay here playing Amethyst Steel, the supposed, I guess counter to Blurple. But I think from what we've seen over the past DLC at Bologna, Blurple has managed to kind of out edge Amethyst Steel a little bit. But it'll be interesting to see whether So Amethyst Steel, I think, with a lot of this instant lore game, with the White Rose, as well as the Giant Cobra, and just a lot ability to deal with evasives, right? Has a lot of answers that into Blurple, and is also able to kind of outrace what Blurple can provide. But you do need a very, very strong curve for your starting hand, right? You need to have some sort of draw engine as well, and either Yzma or Doc in order for you to continue playing the game. Whereas Blurple, as rightfully put by some of my mates, was saying that every card in Blurple serves a very big purpose, right? So you've got Genius, which is just a very good card for 4 ink, 2/4, quest for 2, also allows you to draw a card in itself. So Blurple just for having very, very strong tools and has meaningful plays, I think, in every turn that he can play. Whereas Amethyst Steel has a little bit more to work around, or work towards, I suppose, is the right phrase here. We do see Amethyst Steel starting first as well, which always is good in no matter which matchup you're in. So Kijay starting with a ink into Captain Hook, and Angus as well having a very similar response in inking into that Rafiki. Both cards actually quite similar. We have the Captain Hook, which is a 1/2 challenge at 2, but we have the Rafiki, which is a 0/2 challenge at 3. So very similarly having very similar stat lines. But with Calhoun Marine Sergeant on the board, this is actually kind of like a challenge for Angus to answer, right? Because if as long as the Calhoun's on the board, things like the Rafiki can't quest. So we see here, Angus is just going to pass his turn. I do believe that Kijay here is just going to be able to quest with all 3 of his characters, but chooses to pass. Interestingly, maybe scared for the Into the Unknown there. But we do see the Into the Unknown come down. That's the second Into the Unknown as well. So I think Kijay here, seeing that, probably will think it's a little bit safe to start questing. We do see Scrooge McDuck come down from the side of Angus, and we do see a Genie come down as well from the side of Kijay. Kijay not questing here is quite interesting to me, because even if Captain Hook challenges the Scrooge McDuck, and then the Calhoun challenging into the Scrooge McDuck as well, does actually give Kijay a positive gain there. 3 ink into the 4 ink of the Scrooge McDuck, as well as gaining 2 additional lore whilst getting rid of 1 from Angus's side of the field. Will feel pretty good. But yeah, so anyways, Angus is has a lot of actually things on the board right now. Sorry, on his hand, he's got a Into the Unknown. He's got Finest Keepers. He's got the Ursula, the Genie, as well as the Elsa. So chooses to actually ink the Elsa. He is going to play the Ursula to get rid of the Genie with the Into the Unknown there. Very good package, being able to choose choose when you want to get rid of a character, no matter if it's ready or not with the Ursula. Into the Unknown combination is really nifty. It's like a, I guess, cheaper version of Hades, if you like to think, in terms of ink cost. But yeah, so KJ here, feeling comfortable to just use Dumble's ability. Taps for 1 ink, and allows you to draw a card as well and gain a lore. Right, so, and with the ink from his hand, he is just going to play Captain Hook, and it's just going to pass. Kija here playing very defensively, not wanting to give an opportunity for Angus to kind of strike. We do see Angus, I think, having the right response there, since the game has slowed down significantly. Plays the Finest Keepers, allowing him to draw 3 cards. Fills his hand back up. I don't think there's much else Angus can do here. Maybe just kind of ink and... yeah, because you're not going to want to quest with any of these characters that Angus has put down. He wants to start looking for his evasives, right? And that's very interesting. We do see a Magic Feather in Angus's hand. Magic Feather being a very effective target, I think, for the Scrooge McDuck. But can't play it this turn as he doesn't have enough ink to do so. But we may see him actually use that next turn. If he survives, which he doesn't with a Strength of the Raging Fire. So that's slightly unfortunate for the side of Angus. But I do want to see KJ kind of start questing here. He's got Genies on the board. He's got Calhoun. Calhoun probably doesn't want to quest at this point in time right now. But Genie gonna be pretty safe. But with that Strength of the Raging Fire, actually, you could just start questing with the Captain Hook, because if you use the Rafiki to challenge the Captain Hook here, there isn't really... Yeah, there we go. Then you can just use your Calhoun to kind of challenge into that Rafiki, right? So just a very, very wide board from the side of KJ at the moment, and he is finally starting to quest as well. So this is where we do see if Angus is able to kind of stabilize his board. There isn't a board wipe mechanic or a board wipe card from the side of Blurple, so we do need to see if Angus can kind of slowly start trading away some of these cards like the Captain Hooks with utilizing the Genie. Okay, very smartly uses the Magic Feather onto that Rafiki, gets rid of the Dumbo, so it eliminates one of the draw engines that KJ currently has. And with the dock on the field as well, that means he's got 1 less dock to play. We do see Genie coming down, hoping that draws him into a dock, but no, he draws into Captain Hook as well as a Diablo. That's a whopping 9 characters on the board. So we do see him quest with 5 of them: Calhoun, Rafiki, Captain Hook, as well as Genie, which brings him up to 12 at this point in time. Angus here struggling to find an answer, draws into another Genie, but I think it may be too little too late. We'll likely see him play, I think, the Genie from his hand at this point in time, or maybe even the Dumbo could potentially work. We see 2 onto the Genie, draws him a card into Finest Keepers, which isn't a bad card, but he needs to start being a little bit more aggressive, and I guess with all the answers that KJ has, there isn't really anything that he can do. KJ has a game on the board, and with Angus with no answers, just scoops at this point in time. And here we are at round number 4 of the Goodness Gracious Games Fabled Set Championships. Here we have Amethyst Steel on my right, KJ piloting that. We saw him early in round 3, and we see Tiada playing his Blurple after getting not having an ideal result, I think, in Dimension with his Sea Dogs deck. He decides to go back to his old and trusty Blurple, which netted him, well, a pretty good result so far in GGG. Goes undefeated in the Swiss rounds so far, and here hoping that he continues the undefeated streak. Once again, we do see a very similar matchup to the previous game, or the exact same matchup the previous game. Blurple and Amethyst, both being very strong contenders in this current meta. So right now, Jada trying to find, I think, a 1-drop as well as a ramp card, and Amethyst, KJ trying to find, just curve, right? He's trying to find like a Captain Hook on turn 1, on turn 2, probably trying to find something like a Calhoun, and then turn 3 wants to have something like the White Rose, to start being a little bit more aggressive, and then turn for his Genies, which then becomes a very similar game to what Blurple wants to do, except Blurple gets there, 2 turns sooner, actually, since Blurple is starting first. Tiara going to be very happy with a Royal Guard dropping down on turn 1. KJ also very similarly going to be happy with that Captain Hook as well. So it is kind of just going to be a deadlock stare-off at this point. We do see 2 Royal Guards coming down. No ramp for the side of Tiara. We see 3 Royal Guards actually in Tiara's hands. Tiara not going to be happy with that at all. We do see a Diablo coming down from the side of KJ, but with no ramp, Tiara is using Hypnotic Strength as well to kind of just see if he has an answer to anything or draws into anything, but that's complete with Tiara not having an ideal start whatsoever. KJ, though, gonna be pretty happy playing a Genie on turn 3, so the game plan already is starting to turn in favor of Tiara here. So we do see a quest for 1 coming down from Tiara. We do see a tap 4 onto that Madam Mim to bounce back the Royal Guard, which quested earlier. So that is a 1 quest, 1 lore advantage to Tiara at this point in time, but there isn't too much you can do, actually. KJ gonna be pretty happy with this start and seeing an elephant on the field instead of something like a Genie or Niago. So this is not looking great for Tiara. KJ actually thinking what he wants to ink at this point. Hovering on the Jafar, the challenge Jafar, I think is completely fine. Here he does play a Dock for 2. Does he get rid of his hand? Thinking about it, I think, but chooses not to, and he just passes there. Very interesting plays coming up from KJ. He's a very defensive player. I mean, from what we've seen earlier as well. Allows Tiara a little bit more breathing room here. Tiara just plays that Dumbo, but gets immediately wiped by a Strength of the Raging Fire from the side of KJ. Seeing with that Genie, we do see the Evasive Jafar coming down as well from the side of KJ. And we do finally see KJ starting to quest with the Diablo here. So we do see a trade coming with the Genie. So it is going to be, just 1 damage counter onto that. 3 damage counters, onto that Madam Mim Elephant. And we do see yet another Dumbo coming down from the side. Tiara slowly starting to ramp up his board. Hopefully hoping that KJ doesn't have another Strength of the Raging Fire to get rid of the Dumbo, so he can start getting resources into his hand. We do see KJ inking that Bell, and not doing anything with it at this point in time. We do see a trade into the Madam Mim Elephant with the Captain Hook, and we do see a Fire to Cannons. So getting rid of that Madam Mim Elephant completely. We do see 2 more ink being to exert it for that Dock. We do see, I think, a White Rose. Okay, so I think KJ here accidentally inked a second time in that round, but unfortunately, because there's no judge which is going to be staring at all the games at all points in time, I think because both players didn't realize it, I think there wasn't too much that either player could do, so they just continue playing on at that point in time. So Tiara here manages to get to 7 ink. We do see Hades Infernal Schemer come down to get rid of the Evasive Jafar, so there isn't anything on KJ's side of the field which can kind of get rid of the Dumbo right now, so Dumbo can just exert safely. We do see KJ slightly being a bit more aggressive, questing the Diablo, questing with that White Rose as well, and Tiara here slowly starting to gain steam. We do see Genie coming down. We do see Visions of the Future being played. Visions in the Future, very effective tool to start digging into your deck. Puts all the unwanted cards that you don't want at the bottom of your deck, allows you to choose one of the 5 that you see. And we do see Tiara slowly trading it back. So Hades getting rid of that White Rose. Diablo trading into the Hades so that KJ can draw a card. We do see Calhoun coming down. Calhoun is not really going to be, I think, doing too much at this point in time. We just see Yzma, which is huge for KJ, as Yzma can start, filling up the hands of, can start filling up his hands with her ability. So we do see a second star to the right coming down from Tiara, allowing him to draw 5 cards, which is massive. Not having too many cards in his hand previously is huge, and he also has the Bell that he can play. So we do see Genie coming down for 4. We do see Bell coming for 5, getting rid of that Yzma. Yzma not giving KJ any kind of advantage on his side at this point in time. And right now, Tiara is having a very healthy board for KJ to deal with. This deck, Amethyst Steel, very, very good in the early to mid game, but now we've hit the late game. We've hit the time where Blurple really shines with all its resources. Elsa here isn't going to be able to get rid of that Dumbo, but I think there isn't too much else he can do. KJ just going to quest with the Duck as well as Diablo. But we can slowly start seeing the game slowly starting to turn over to the side of Tiara, right? We have the Genies on the board, we have the Bells on the board, we also have the Hades. All of his characters able to start challenging KJ's characters. It's almost all his characters, all Tiara's characters are evasives as well. So he is going to be able to answer things like the Genie as well as the Elsas from KJ's side, and it's just going to be trading away almost his entire board, and choosing not to get rid of the Diablo is smart, so that KJ doesn't draw a card, and KJ is just playing off the top deck. He is just getting slowly questing out, and yeah, that is completely game on the side of Tiara's field. So congratulations to Tiara for going full wins for Swiss rounds. Alright guys, so we are here at the top for the Fabled Set Championships. We have Tiara on the left and Ben on the right. Ben piloting the Amber Steel deck, and Tiara is piloting the Amethyst Sapphire deck, or as we lovingly call it, Blurple. So this matchup, I feel like we've seen this time and time again. It's whether Ben playing the Amber Steel can actually outspeed Blurple. Right, I'm not sure who's starting first here at this point in time, but Ben mulliganing away 6 cards shows that his starting hand initially didn't really have a good start. Tiara, on the other hand, I think mullied away 4, which means he likely has ramp in hand. And in case you're wondering how does Brian know this, right? Well, for the side of Blurple, you typically want to you need the turn 2 ramp, right? So if you don't have the turn 2 ramp, you're going to throw away all 7 of your cards to kind of like invest all your resources into finding it. The other thing which Tiara wants to look for is, of course, the Royal Guards, as you see him having there, or the Basils, as he wants to be able to kind of uptrade into Ben's aggressive board, right? He wants to be able to get rid of some of Ben's cards early, and here, wow, actually not ramping at all. He opts to have a slightly safer start with the Royal Guards. Plays 2 Royal Guards on the field against Ben's Mulan. And Mulan here is actually quite annoying for Tiara because it's a 2-1. So 2-1 means that if Tiara trades the Royal Guard into that Mulan, he is actually losing. He's going to be losing that Royal Guard, which is not great, right? So I think here Tiara rightfully just passes here. To ensure that his Royal Guards are going to be healthy, and then just kind of threatens Ben and saying, hey, look, if you're going to quest here, and if I draw 2 cards, or 3, 2 cards, if I draw 2 more cards, I'm going to be able to get rid of your Nala. But Ben here very wisely not questing the Nala as he manages to put a Tiana on the board. Tiana here, 3 cost, uninkable, 1/4. If this card is exerted, you are whenever your opponent challenges one of your own characters, they have to pay 3 ink. If not, they have a hefty penalty of -3 willpower. Right, so that Tiana is extremely strong defensive mechanism, but nowadays a lot of decks are building around that, so there are Ben's kind of challenging Tiana and saying, hey, look, if you don't have it Into the Unknown, you can't really deal with my board right now. And with the Pete, Tiana can't even play Into the Unknown. So Tiana here having to, use Dumble's ability here to tap pay 1 ink as well, so that he can draw a card and gain a lore. So Tiana here is just trying to get as much resources as he can, hoping that Ben doesn't have like another Pete to play. But because of the draw from the Dumbo, Royal Guard here does get 1 base plus 2 challenger 2. So does manage to get rid of the Nala on Ben's side of the field, and with that, Fire the Cannon gets rid of that Royal Guard here. So Ben is having a very aggressive start, a very strong start indeed, with 12 lore already, with I think 4 or 5 minutes in the game. So Ben here just running away, not being able to actually deal with Ben's board too much. Draws in the second star to the left, second star to the right, doesn't really give him the cards that he needs. He needs to get to 7 in order to start playing the Hades to get rid of the Tiana. But yeah, I think Ben is just gonna run away with this game. So yeah, Tiana is gonna get the 2 from the Daisy Duck. Ben gets the 19, and I think this is likely going to be the first game as Tiana is not gonna be able to clear Ben's board at this point in time. Even if he plays Hades onto that Tiana, Dumbo can't really deal with any of Ben's board. So I think that may be the end of game 1. And because we are in Top Cut, guys, this is a best of 3, so it's unlike the matches that you've watched earlier where it's a best of 1. So the players here are playing the best of 3. They have 55 minutes to complete the matches, and yeah, so that's 55 minutes inclusive of any kind of shuffling in between and whatnot. But I do not expect this game to go to time, as Amber Steel is a very, very aggressive deck. So it's either going to win fast or lose fast. But in this case, Ben manages to just completely outplace Blurple. And as we can see here, right, Blurple not able to kind of, if he's not able to stabilize or stave off some of that aggression early on, just kind of collapses to himself. I do expect, actually, Blurple did go first the previous game, and that is actually a pretty significant advantage, I think, for the Blurple. But here, Ben, just managing to use the Amber Steel to outpace any kind of stave off, or rather, I don't really think it's so much the Amber Steel that's able to deal with Tiana's hand, but it's more so that Blurple didn't draw into the pieces that was able to deal with kind of Ben's aggressive board state. So here, Tiana hoping to have turn 1 on Royal Guard, turn 2 ramp, turn 3 something like the Genie or the Dumbo, or either that, a 1-drop Royal Guard with, let's say, maybe a Hypnotic Strength or something to power up a Basil or a Royal Guard there, so that he can kind of get back, stabilize the board faster and get back into the game. We do actually see Tiana having that Sail the Azurite Sea as well as a Basil, I think I saw. So yeah, Tiana gonna be pretty happy with that play. Sail the Azurite Sea allows him to ramp 1 card. So he didn't have the Basil. If not, he would have played the Basil there. And Tiana is not going to quest. I think this is probably the right move, as he doesn't want to waste resource necessarily. So Ben here plays the Rhino. Rhino's ability allows him to reduce 1 willpower from his opponent's field, on the opponent's side of the field for just that turn. So it does make it a little bit harder for Tiana to deal with any kind of, I guess, allow Tiana to deal with any kind of units. It makes it a little bit more difficult. So yeah, that's but typically that's actually played because of the shift Rhino Powerball Hamster. It's a 4/3 shift 2, and he gets a nifty effect where if he's got 0 damage on him, he gets 2 resist, right? That is massive, and makes it so much more difficult to deal with that Rhino. And Rhino is a 4/3 and quests for 2 as well. So very, very strong card in this Amber Steel deck. We did see Tiara playing that Metamim Elephant. Going to be pretty happy with that. 3, 7, and has the ability to shift damage counters at the start of his turn. If there's any damage counters on the Metamim Elephant himself. Oh, wow. Did not expect Ben to kind of put that Rhino into the ink. That's the Rhino that we're talking about in terms of the 4-3 shift Rhino. Very strong card. Surprised that he's putting it in the ink. Probably wants to play the Pete that turn to kind of prevent any kind of Into the Unknown singing shenanigans. But I feel like that was not necessarily, I don't know what's in Ben's hand. Maybe he has another Powerball hamster there. But this board state is starting to look more and more favored towards Tiara here. It hasn't met him in Elephant, so he can kind of shift the damage counters over. Oh wow, Ben plays the John Silver, which prevents one of your chosen opponent's character from challenging. Right, so this is one of the few cards which prevents challenging. So I think he does that to that Metamim, so that Metamim can't get rid of get rid of anything on the board, but Metamim can just quest there. So Jetta just does that, plays the Genie as well as the Royal Guard, so establishing a very healthy board, very different, from the previous game, where we just kind of saw Ben run away with a very wide board. Here, Ben still does have a wide board, but it has a lot less questing power. So so lethal is going to be pretty hard to get to, I think, with this kind of board state from Ben. And Tiara is going to be pretty happy with just challenging anything that Ben quests with. And as you can see, with the Metamim Elephant, just getting rid of the Mulan like that is super, super easy. Anything which cannot survive a hit from the Metamim Elephant is going to be like a double-edged sword for Ben, because Metamim Elephant can can challenge one of Ben's characters, and then after that shifted that damage that it took over to another character. Right, so Ben here with a lot less of a stable board state, and from there, Tiara is just going to be pretty happy with that. Just questing there 4/4 with 1 Genie and 2 Metamim Elephants. Ben, once again, inking a second Rhino Powerball Hamster here, bringing his ink up to 5, which is fairly high, I think, for an Ember Steel deck. But he does get that Tiana. That Tiana would have put in so much work, but no, Tiana just goes, I'm going to play a Hades Infernal Schemer and ensure that Tiana does not get to stay on the board, does not get to annoy me with one more effects. And yeah, from there, I think it's just too little, too late. Ben can't really quest out from that scenario, so it is just going to go straight to Tiara for game number 2. So it's pretty interesting, right? We saw the first game, both games Tiara started first, but the key difference here is that the second game, Tiara did manage to get that the Sail the Azurite Sea, so it was able to just ramp up to 3 on turn 2, and then from there kind of stabilize the board with the Metamim Elephants or the Genie, which fulfilled. Metamim Elephant here putting in so much work, managing to just single-handedly stave off that aggression that Ben's deck is trying to do, right? So Ben, on the other hand, the key difference was the cards that he drew. Right, if you noticed, Ben had a lot more cards which quested for 2, quested for 3, such as the Nalas that he had. In this case, Ben drew into like the John Silvers, which bought him one more turn, allowed him to develop his board, but the Tiana came out way too late. Wasn't able to kind of protect his board from questing, and because of that, Tiana could just develop the board instead of having to pay the 3 ink that is required for to negate Tiana's ability. Right, so Ben here starting first, Ember Steel is going to be favored. Tiara just inks and passes. This is not great for Tiara at all. Ben is just going to run away. Turn 2, we do see Sail the Azurite Sea, so he does go to 3, but no 1 cost coming out. Tiara's board is looking extremely vacant right now, extremely empty. Ben here just questing for 4 with the Nala, with the Rhino, plays 1 more Nala for 2. And he's just gonna pass there. That is going to be 7 on the board for Ben. Ben is going to go to 12. This game is looking like very heavily favored towards this Ember Steel deck. And this was the right sequence that Ben was looking for, right? He can't let Tiara stabilize the board. We do see Genie on the board, but Genie is not Metamim Elephant. He does not have 3 willpower. Does not have enough willpower to get rid of anything basically from Ben's board. He is going to be able to get rid of that Rhino there, but Rhino, getting rid of the Rhino, I guess, removes the shift target. But other than that, that's not the card you want to remove. You want to remove the Nalas, right? Nalas, with probably the Into the Unknowns, or you want to put some damage onto the Genie and shift it with the Bell. But right now it's 1 unit onto 4 Ben's units, so it's not looking great. But we do see the Elsa. Elsa here not should not have been able to get rid of the Nala though. I think that may have been a slight miscalculation there, as the Elsa only has 2 willpower and the Nala does have that 1 resist from her special ability. But both players not noticing this, unfortunately, does continue to play on there. So we do see Ben just trying to quest out. Nala for 3, Pete for 1, Rhino for 1. With Tiana on the board, Ben is trying to challenge Tiana and saying, hey, look, if you aren't able to deal with at least the Nala and the Rhino, I do have game on the board. In fact, no, Tiana has to deal with the Pete, the Nala, as well as the Rhino, because if he's only getting rid of the Nala and the Rhino, there's still 3 lore on the board with the Pete as well as the Tiana. So Tiana is running on a timer here. Is going to be able to clear it with at least the Rhino with the Genie, but the Elsa can't clear the Nala. Needs to have either Hypnotic Strength or Into the Unknown. Probably needs to sing with one of these characters as well, but I'm not sure if Tiara has the Into the Unknown in his hand, thinking what can he do with the hands of the cards that he's been dealt with. Kind of Dumbo for potentially using Dumble's ability to draw 1 more card to see if he gets it Into the Unknown. But I think it may be too little too late here. Doesn't even get to 7 ink, so he can't even play the Hades Infernal Schemer. We do see the Bell, so maybe shifting some damage over, but I don't think there's much that he can do there. We do see the Into the Unknown in his hand, so he is going to be able to at least sing the Nala away. Okay, so we do see the Hypnotic Strength, so Jada does draw 1. Does get the Metamim Elephant, but not the card he wants to look for. He was hoping for another, I think, Into the Unknown at that point. So Elsa does get rid of the Pete, but because he's used 2 ink on the Hypnotic Strength, he's unable to play the Bell, accomplish Mystic from his hand. Does trade away the Genie. He is going to use Into the Unknown there, so he managed to get rid of Ben's board, but Tiana is standing there, and Ben is going to be able to just play out his hand, right? He is just going to be able to play all of his small units and go wide, so that Tiana has no answer even with a Genie. And keep in mind, Tiana's effect is also in play, so that means Tiana has to either have Into the Unknown to get rid of it, a Hades Infernal Schemer, or pay the 3 ink, which is required to kind of negate the -3 willpower from Tiana's effect there. So Ben, thinking what he should do, he has 4 cards in his hand. Can't really see from this angle, but it's reaching the penultimate moment of the game of top 4, and this is what this matchup is all about, right? Seeing if he can race the Blurple before Blurple can kind of stabilize, and we saw that in game 1. We're seeing this now in game number 3. 1 unit with the Mulan is not, I mean, it's kind of all Ben needs, but if Zelda has the Elsa there, then that's kind of it. But I think this lady does secure it, right? You play the lady, you play the dock, you have a very wide board. Zelda does not have board wipe mechanic in the Blurple deck, so I think this is likely going to be game. Zelda looking once again for his options. He does get another Hypnotic Strength, so he could kind of just go out damage the Tiana. So basically, quest with support. So there's 2 plus the Hypnotic Strength 2, but that's not even enough to get rid of the Tiana. Oh, that's so unfortunate. But he does, I guess, have the Bell, so maybe he could do something like a Bell shift damage over to Tiana and then do the Basil Hypnotic Strength play. But he needs 7 ink, and I think he's only at 6. Oh well, he can just ink 1 more card there. So there is a way to get rid of the Tiana, but you have no other ways to get out get rid of the standing characters. No way to get rid of the Mulan, no way to get rid of the lady or the duck. He needs another Elsa. He does not draw into the Elsa, he draws into the Hades. But with the 2 ink used already, there isn't anything he can do. And there, Jada does scoop, and Ben goes straight into the finals. On to the finals match here at the Fabled Set Championships at Goodness Gracious Games. Here, congratulations, first of all, to Ben as well as Adam for making it all the way to the finals. So just to recap, once again, the players had to play 4 rounds of Swiss best of 1, and then the top 4 gets to go into the top cut, right? So you've got Adam here, who is piloting the Amethyst Steel deck, and Ben, we saw earlier, was piloting the Ember Steel deck, right? So I just want to take a moment to kind of talk about what both decks kind of do. So Amethyst Steel is just trying to go for a very wide board, right? It has general answers into most decks at this point in time. It has a lot of evasives to kind of deal with the evasives from the Blurple. You have a lot of single target damage actions, like the strengths of the Raging Fire, the Fire to Cannons, you know, all that good stuff, right? So has the steel removal, has the purple draw engine, has the purple kind of resource control. You also have quite a few instant lures cards that you can get from the White Rose, as well as the Giant Cobra. So a lot of cards to deal with. You can play like a temple deck, right? So you're playing good cards on almost every turn, and the cards are going to be able to get you into advantageous positions as soon as you play it. And Amber Steel, as you saw earlier, is a very aggressive deck. You just meant to go with cheap, low-cost cards, which have, you know, typically low willpower but very high lore counts. So you're just trying to outrush kind of your opponent there, right? But Adam's deck is, I believe, going to be able to stave off some of that pressure. He does play the Happy 2 willpower, 1 HP, gets evasive during your turn, so very effective tool for something like a Dumbo as well, because you are able to actually use Happy in conjunction with Dumbo, because he does get that evasive ability. And Adam, right off the bat, is playing the Calhoun. Calhoun Marine Sergeant is going to be a bit of a pain point for Ben. You know, Ben is not going to be able to kind of quest safely with his own Calhoun, as well, you know, Calhoun, as soon as she challenges, and if she wins a challenge, you do gain 2 lore from there. We just saw Ben, you know, playing that Tiana. Tiana was going to allow Ben to start questing pretty aggressively there, but Adam chooses to utilize the strength of the Raging Fire, which allows you to deal 1 damage to every one of your opponent's. Choose to deal 1 damage for every character you have to board to one of your opponent's characters. So instantly, this is one of the ways to instantly get rid of the Tiana. And Ben, I think, rightfully choosing to get rid of the White Rose since it was exerted with Calhoun. But with Calhoun gone, though, it actually allows Adam to just go ahead and start questing if he does manage to get rid of the Calhoun, and both Ben's Calhouns are gone. And here, Adam is just going to use Genie's ability, shuffles the deck, shuffles himself in the deck, and then allows him to draw 3 cards. Very unique tool. You know, we don't usually see Genie being played in Amethyst Steel, or at least this Genie being played in Amethyst Steel, but it seems to be working pretty well for Adam here. Allows him to really refill his hand, whilst also gaining that 1 lore from that Genie. Adam at this point decides to just quest with the Happy, with the Calhoun, because there's no real way for Ben to kind of deal with his board. Ben needs to try to quest faster than Adam can. Ben did draw, I think I saw Strength of the Raging Fire in his hand, so with the lady is going to be able to sing there, that to get rid of the with the Madam Mim here. No, I think that was a slight misplay, because Madam Mim, I believe, is a 0-3. Oh no, 0-2, but okay, no, Adam does let Ben retract that, so he inks the Strength of the Raging Fire to play another Strength of the Raging Fire for 3 damage. Yeah, because Madam Mim had 0-3. So so Ben had to play 1 more character before he could remove the Madam Mim from the board. And wow, Ben quests with Daisy Duck, gets rid of Adam's Fire to Cannons. Adam would have loved to draw that in his hand to get rid of the lady, but instead chooses to trade the happy into the lady. Reverses that. These players allowing each other to reverse. It's a very friendly community here in Lorcana, and we did see Adam. Yeah, I think that was the right move. Quite challenging the lady with the Calhoun, so it allows him to gain 2 extra lore from there. Plays the giant cobra, plays the dock as well, allowing Adam to discard his hand to draw 2 more cards. And Adam is going to be pretty happy with that. Quests one more time with the happy, and is having a pretty significant lore lead against this Amber Steel deck, 10-4 at this point in time. And Ben just uses the dock to get rid of the happy, I believe, and then it uses the penny to heal the dock at this point. Fire the cannons as well, so getting rid of the Cajon. This is big. This is a second fire the cannons that that Ben managed to get rid of with the help of Daisy Duck. Adam finally drawing one of the characters from his deck. And the tide is starting to turn in Ben's favor. We do see Ben having 6 characters on the board, Adam only having 2. Giant Cobra getting rid of one of the Daisy Ducks does put 1 damage counter on itself, so now it is in a Strength of the Raging Fire range, or rather it's always been, but it's that much easier to get rid of, right? You're able to use kind of like Fire the Cannons and the Rhino to then trade into that Giant Cobra, which does make it kind of like an effective trade. Right, Adam here only playing 2 cards in his hand, kind of weighing out his options, and this is the problem with Amethyst Steel. You only draw you don't really have a draw engine except for something like your Diablos or like your Yzmas. And sorry guys, if you guys just saw an interruption in the game. Basically, Adam started his turn without drawing a card. So here, Adam just draws a card and continue to play the game from there. This is the, I think, 4th or 3rd set championships is happening in Singapore, so it's natural that the players are a little bit on the nervous side there. But you know what? It's fine. It's easy. It's a reversible mistake, and yeah, the game continues from there. So Adam does play 5 for the Elsa. Elsa just allows you to exert one of your opponent's characters. It also has Rush and Evasive, so it's one of the most I think powerful stat-packed cards that we see here that Amethyst has. So it does manage to deal with that penny quite easily. And because Elsa is an evasive, there isn't quite a way for Ben to kind of get rid of the Elsa except with a Strength of Raging Fire. But we do know that 2 strengths are gone. One is in his ink, one is was being played just now. So Ben here just, I think, trying to race Adam, right, trying to outquest him, but everything on Ben's side except for the Daisy only quests for 1, so there isn't much I think Ben can do at this point. Does play the penny to get rid of that damage from the Rhino, and there is technically lethal on the board for Ben, but I believe Amethyst Steels has so many different ways for him to deal with this kind of board, right? So we do see Elsa being played right now, exerts the penny, so gets rid of the other 2 cost card from Ben. Sorry, 2 lore cards on Ben's side of the field. And right now, with the Daisy Duck as well as the penny gone, Ben just has the 3 single lore cards on his side of the field, and Adam, on the other hand, having a very wide board there. That's 1 from the Giant Cobra, 1 from the Dock, 1 from the Elsa, 1 from each Elsa. So that brings it to 4, and then the Dock having 1 more as well. So that is 5 lore on the board. So Adam can't win this turn, but he will be able to start, kind of sweeping Ben's board, and then slowly starting to quest out from there. Interesting that Adam chooses to get rid of the Dock. I think the slightly better play probably would have been to quest out there. But you know what? I think Adam is going for the safer play to ensure that there's no way for Ben to kind of come back into this. There's only 4 lore on the board for Ben at this point in time. Ben decides to just quest ahead, so that brings that means that Adam has to deal with Ben's current board. If not, Ben is just going to sweep that game. But Adam has a lot of characters to deal, I think, with this. Elsa getting rid of the Rhino. We do see the Giant Cobra potentially getting rid of the Duck. I think that's probably a fine play here. But we choose to use both Doc as well as Elsa to get rid of the Doc, and Adam is just going to quest for 2 there. Perhaps not wanting to put more damage onto the giant Cobra, perhaps, so that Ben can't really have an easy way to deal with that. But no, I think chooses to return a little bit. Gives, there we go, uses Jafar to give the Doc enough willpower to get rid of his other Doc. And yeah, from there, I think if Ben can't win this or doesn't play some sort of instant lore, it is going to be Adam's game next turn, as we do see 7 characters on the board, each of them questing for 1, which will bring Adam to a lead in terms of winning game 1. So here Ben just plays the Mulan from his hand, that he gets from the top deck, decides to quest for 2, but Mulan only can quest for 1, so yeah, Adam is just going to sweep that game, brings it into a very close, actually, I think game 1 here. Ben just 2 lore shot from winning, but that is the power of Amethyst Steel. If you're able to just out-trade your board into something like an aggressive deck, like Ben's playing, the Amber Steel deck, he is just going to slowly take the win from there. I think the other deck, this Amethyst Steel deck is great into, Amber Steel is great into Sea Dogs, but, doesn't do too well into Blurple. Does have answers into it, but at time, if Blurple is just able to out-control Amethyst Steel, that's kind of it, right? Amethyst Steel can go fast, has a lot of, like I said before, instant lower gain, but if he doesn't play that, I think that kind of style of Amethyst Steel, then it becomes a lot easier, I think, for Blurple to just sweep the game. Ben here choosing to mulligan 4, Adam here choosing to, I think, mulligan 3. Both players actually having a pretty decent hand here, so I think both players are looking to kind of curve out a little bit nicer, I believe. Ben here, I believe, wants to get that 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop combo. He probably wants the Rhino and then into Tiana, which makes things a lot more difficult for Adam to deal with. So Ben here eyeing the Mulan to Ink, does play that 1 drop Daisy. Very strong start for Ben. Either the Daisy would have been fine, the Rhino would have been fine as well. But yeah, and Adam here answering right back, plays that Captain Hook. Captain Hook, very good card, 1/2, and also gains challenge 2, so he's effectively a 3/2, and for just 1 cost, right? So Ben here quests with the Daisy, then also plays Fire as he can to get rid of that Captain Hook. So Ben off to a pretty decent start. We see Adam playing 1 cost Happy, 1 cost Palace Guard, slowly starting to develop this board. But not enough damage to get rid of the Daisy. This is why Daisy is such a menace, right? It's a 1/4, extremely hard to remove. Quest for 2. So once she is on the board, she is going to be there for a good chunk of time. Adam needs to be able to answer this Daisy Duck, either with something like a Strength of the Raging Fire or even Fire to Cannons in combination with that Happy to remove it. But at this point in time, not too much going on for the side of Adam. Just quest 1 with the Palace Guard, inks the White Rose, opts to play the Giant Cobra, and also opts to discard 1 card from his hand. This play is an extremely aggressive play, and is a very similar style to what I was saying that he would need to do if he was facing a Blurple deck. But Amethyst Steel outracing, trying to outrace the Amber Steel deck is going to be quite an interesting matchup. We see Adam here drawing into that Dumbo. Very good card for him to start refilling his hand, but without any evasives on the board, the effectiveness of Dumbo, it does get questioned a little bit. And wow, once again, we see Strength of the Raging Fire getting rid of that Tiana. Tianas aren't meant to stay on the board in this kind of matchup. Adam saving that Strength of the Raging Fire was a good call. He gets rewarded here. But, Pluto is a huge target, right? Without any damage, he is a 5/5. So very difficult to remove. And if you're hitting into that Pluto, you are definitely going to be losing some value there. Right, so just get rid of that Happy. So he uses Happy to deal some damage to the Pluto. So Pluto then becomes a 1/5, I believe. So yeah, chooses to sacrifice his happy so that Ben can't really deal with can't choose, I guess, when to or who to hit with that Pluto. So I think that was a good call by Adam to kind of blunt the knife a little bit, so to say. So Ben here questing with that Pluto bodyguard. So Daisy Duck is going to be pretty safe to quest. So we do see the trigger from Daisy Duck gives him the Elsa. Elsa here, huge for Adam, is going to be able to exert one of the Nalas. So what I could see potentially happening here is the Giant Cobra heading into the Pluto. Elsa then just Elsa, sorry, no, not Elsa, but Dumbo heading into the Nala is going to be really strong. So not too sure what is happening. Okay, so we do see Dumbo heading into the Pluto. Okay, no, sorry. So yeah, I think that is likely going to be the better play. So Giant Cobra, as mentioned before, Giant Cobra heading into the Pluto, and then the Dumbo heading into the Nala is probably the most effective way to trade. And then we will have both the Elsa heading into. So we have the Elsa heading into the Daisy Duck and the Palace Guard hitting into Daisy Duck as well. Just slowly trying to chip away at the board here. Ben going to be pretty happy with inking the Strength of the Raging Fire because he does get a dock from that. Sorry, he does use the dock. So Strength of the Raging Fire in his hand wasn't going to be dealing too much anyways. With 2 damage as well, I don't think there was too much that he could deal with. But draws into another strength, which is absolutely bonkers. Does play it from his hand. And I think he's just going to be pretty happy with questing here. Opts not to quest, actually, which is pretty interesting in itself. I guess just wants to play a little bit safe without Tiana, but gets punished heavily with another Strength of the Raging Fire coming out from Adam. So Adam here going to slowly start gaining some advantages here with the Elsa, with the Dumbo as well. And this is going to be the turning point of the game. We see Dumbo's ability being used as well. More lore, more cards, more better for Adam as we see him slowly starting to chip away that lore counter. So Ben here playing the Mulan, trying to cycle through his deck as fast as he can. Probably wants more two lore characters. Okay, we do see Nala come down as well. Nala here going to be able to quest with 3 next turn. Oh, and we do see one of the actions going to the bottom of the deck thanks to the Daisy. Unsure why Ben didn't just wait. Ben didn't just quest earlier. But probably wanted to play a little bit safe in hopes that he was going to draw into that Tiana or another Pluto. Unfortunately, didn't do so. So he is going to go on the offensive at this point in time. Daisy and Doc are currently exerted, but I don't think it's going to worry Ben too much. Adam thinking, thinking if he should do anything with the Dumbo. Sorry, if he should. Oh, sorry, uses Dumbo to use Dumbo's ability instead of the Elsa. Probably because Elsa's a little bit more healthy. So Palace Guard getting rid of that Daisy at this point in time. Removes it from the board. Adam, sorry, thinking if that was necessarily the right play. So players here just discussing. So confirming that Daisy is going to be removed by the Palace Guard, but the ability from the Dumbo was used earlier onto the Elsa instead of the Dumbo itself, and I think Dumbo is just going to be trading into that dock there. So with the board mostly cleared, in fact, almost completely cleared, Ben's going to be pretty happy with that. Sorry, no, Adam's going to be pretty happy with that. Adam inks one more, plays the Genie that we saw earlier, allows him to shuffle himself into the deck once he quests, and things are starting to look a little bit grim from Ben. Ben does not have any hand cards in his hand at this point in time. Uses Rhino's ability, I think, on just, I believe it should be the Dumbo, because Dumbo is the only thing which can get rid of that Nala in one swoop. So, yeah, Adam here likely wanting to get rid of the Nala. Opts to use Daisy's ability instead, as well. Dumbo's ability twice, and then using, there we go, okay, the Genie to get rid of the Nala there. And just this Palace Guard has been putting in so much work, just slowly slowly gaining a lore every turn from Adam. Adam does play that Genie as well. Plays the Calhoun. Ben draws for what seems to be the final turn, and Ben scoops. There is no way that Ben could have come back from that, and the game does go to Adam. Congratulations for winning that champion playmat at Goodness Gracious Games.